There are legends round here, even if only in their own minds. Forgotten, but not dead. Some have tried to stop them, but they keep coming back. Coming to entertain you. They are the Crystal Lake Soldiers.
Welcome back, campers. This is episode 8 of the Crystal Lake Soldiers podcast. My name is Isaiah, joined as always by Mark, Sean, and Ted. How are you guys doing this weekend?
Doing great.
Pretty good, dude. Freaking technology. How dare they do this to me? Oh, I'm doing fantastic, by the way. Ted has
mix
been
it up there a
battling
little
with
bit this week.
technology today, apparently. Stupid machines.
No,
it's the drone.
Gotta
man.
love technical
the drone.
issues. Technology's great, but can be a real bitch and a pain in the ass too. That's for sure.
The AI bots are listening. Be careful, guys.
Right. Anyways, we got some good news, a lot of good updates here for you this week. We're talking about also music in movies and horror movies, how they can help or hinder. So that's coming later on in the show. Just to kind of start off here, there's just a little kind of updates regarding what we're doing, what's coming up. So first off, this week is 3 from Hell is in theaters on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Both me and Ted are actually going to be seeing that, and we're actually going to start doing another podcast to kind of go along with this. It's not really another podcast. It's still going to be the Crystal Lake Soldiers podcast, but we're going to start doing review podcasts on certain movies. And so this is going to be kind of a test just to see how it goes and whatnot. So look for later on this week a review by both me and Ted on 3 from Hell. That's going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to 3 from Hell. Absolutely loved House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. And this is obviously the 3rd chapter in this story. So it's going to be interesting to see where Rob Zombie's taking us on this ride. Super excited, super stoked. Obviously, the Blu-ray is coming out next month for those of you that aren't able to see it in theaters. So look for that review. We're going to include both a spoiler-free review as well as, for those of you that don't really give a fuck, a spoiler-filled review. So it's going to be the same review. It's just one's going to be obviously be longer because there's going to be spoilers in it. So, you can look for that on however you listen to our podcast. That'll be coming towards the end of this week. So, and then also coming up, we're going to also be having our first guest on our show as we discuss short films. And that's going to be coming up here shortly. So that's going to be exciting too. It'll be kind of fun having our first guest and kind of getting to discuss something that we all love. And, that's horror and seeing what people can do with horror, whether it's original or fan films.
I will be picking his brain.
It's about time we got a
guest,
guest, man.
Definitely.
It's going to be fun.
So exciting stuff coming up here. Definitely. It will be a lot of fun and a lot of good, exciting stuff coming up here for the Crystal Lake Soldiers podcast. So kind of moving on to that into news, we got some great news. We got an update on Sid Haig. Sid is definitely still in the hospital, still after his accident, but he is recovering. He is definitely starting to improve. He's starting to be able to eat, somewhat now, which is great. There's still going to be a road.
He's a fighter. He's not going down.
Exactly. There's still going to be a road to recovery ahead, but he is expected to fully recover from this, which is great news because we didn't really know what was going on, when his wife had, made that announcement about him having that accident, a week ago or whatever it was.
Yeah, thankfully she cleared it all up. Of course, she was just emotional. So.
Love you, Sid.
Obviously,
get better. Why, so. Get better so you can kill people in movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Sid is definitely one tough son of a bitch, that's for sure. And I'm glad to hear that he's definitely recovering, after, whatever had happened. Because it's not been made clear what exactly happened, but I'm glad he's getting better. Just rested, get better. We want to see you again here shortly. So moving along from that great news, we obviously have our weekly Halloween news coming up here. So Halloween Kills actually began filming on September 12th, so this past week. And from the reports that I've been seeing is that they started with recording some news coverage scenes. So, obviously after the whole bloodbath that happened in Halloween 2018, there's obviously going to be news coverage and stuff. So they're starting out small here, but at least they're rolling now on the movie. It's going to be interesting to see as things
that's awesome.
we get more updates on what's actually going on and all that. So that's exciting news to hear that that's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear they started filming. Gives them time to get everything done. Maybe this will be even better than the last one.
Yeah. That would be great. I mean, I love 18, like I've said multiple times on the podcast, and I've got high hopes for this. I'm still, the more that it goes along, the name is starting to grow on me. I'm still not 100% behind the name Halloween Kills, but as time is going on, it's starting to really grow on me. As long as the batshit crazy, just fucking balls to the wall film, I'm all for it. So
it has to live up to its name.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
We haven't.
Yeah, so that's
Halloween Kills, the box office.
So that's great to hear that they're filming now. Nick Castle obviously is coming back to play, the Shape, as well as James Jude Courtney. So Nick Castle posted a video about him getting ready to play the Shape again. It was kind of a funny video. I'm glad to see him just getting back in the spirit of things, and it's cool that he's definitely going to be back, like we've talked about, and kind of sharing the scene with James Jude Courtney, as he's obviously the main focal Michael Myers in most scenes. So it's great. And then I was reading the other day, and I didn't know this, just because I never really looked into it before. Besides the one scene he was in 2018, I didn't realize that they actually used him for Michael's breathing when during scenes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
either. That's cool.
Which it's the perfect obvious
choice.
That's
the original breathing. So
yeah. So that was a nice little tidbit that I learned last week. I think is when I actually read that. So that's cool.
That I think is awesome. I don't know if I enjoyed because that was one of the things I didn't like in the 2018 one is it made I don't know, it made Jason look like an old man.
Yeah.
It's nothing against Nick Castle. It's just part of the movie I didn't care for. But using his breathing, that's an awesome idea. I like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you just say make Jason look like an old man?
If I did, it's because I'm still on Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th.
I was like trying to.
Forgive me.
I was like, did I hear that right? I'm making sure that my mic's not screwing up.
No,
I can only watch, but so many of them movies and not say that shit.
Yeah, especially if you're coming off a freaking marathon, so it's understandable.
Yeah, I watched almost all of them.
I was just making sure everything was working fine on my end here because I've been having problems all night.
Right, understandable. Understandable. Well, so Halloween has begun, filming, but also another franchise has started filming their next movie, which is Wrong Turn. And how many Wrong Turn movies has there been now? Because I haven't watched anything.
6 or 7,
okay.
Man, and I haven't watched anything past 2.
Okay.
I think they're saying this is a reboot.
This is the 7th one, and I stopped watching after part 3.
Yeah.
I tried watching part 4, can't get through with it. And I tried watching part 5, I can't get through with it, and I just didn't even try part 6.
Yeah. So,
part 3 was it for me.
Yeah, I haven't watched anything beyond the second one personally myself.
The second one was so bad, I never gave it a chance.
Yeah, that's exactly why. Like I like the first one,
which is funny. Which is funny because a lot of people think the second one's the best, but it's not.
That's what I've heard too, and I was like,
yeah,
wow,
it's not. When I finally got around to start watching, the movies, and I was like, well, I'm looking forward to part 2, and I liked part 1. I was like, people are saying part 2's the best, so I was like, awesome. And I watched part 2.
Henry Rollins in part 2.
Yeah,
I was like, how was part 2 better than part 1? I don't get it. I don't see anything that was better. I thought it was worse. I didn't think it was like a horrible movie or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I definitely didn't think it was better than part one. I think part one is the best out of that whole franchise that I've seen. And
I would concur with that. Definitely. So with the new Wrong Turn movie, there isn't really like a whole lot of information about it currently, because it did just start production. But the two bits that I was able to find regarding this is that filming is taking place in New Richmond, Ohio, and the movie is set to be taking place in the Appalachian Trail. That's kind of really the only information we have to really go off of at this point.
I saw all over the place they were saying reboot about it.
Yeah.
Maybe I was.
Well, there was mention of that
Either
too,
way.
but whether or not that's still happening with this one, it wasn't really made clear.
I mean, I'm not into the reboots, but
Yeah.
that might make me actually give it a chance since the other ones have been so terrible. Maybe it needs to be rebooted.
Yeah. No, definitely. So that's another franchise, getting ready to bring out their next movie. Now, moving on to something new though, James Wan's next horror movie, which we've talked about a little bit, and obviously the plot is still under wraps. They haven't really made known what his next movie is truly about, but the name of the movie is Silver Cup, and it is actually rumored to be a giallo film.
Yeah, I think that's cool. There hasn't been a lot of that coming out for years.
No,
it seems
it's
like,
been
so
a very
might be
long time.
awesome. And he's been doing good at what he's doing, man. I'm interested. I'm ready to see what's going to come out.
I think especially with him, because I think he's a fantastic filmmaker, especially with horror. It'll be very, very interesting, and I'm actually excited to see what he can do if it is truly going to be a giallo film.
Some of those old giallos, man, were some scary
Yeah.
shit. They used to freak me out.
Fuck
So
yeah.
I want to see something that freaks me out.
So, I mean, you got
that.
ones like Deep Red, Love and Black Lace, Don't Torture a Duckling, are just a couple, that were kind of notable.
Bird in the Crystal Plumage.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's just not really a whole lot known on this, obviously. And we do know that they're scheduled to start shooting here at the end of September in LA. So it is getting ready to ramp up in production starting. So they are right there. It's going to be very interesting to see what.
That's cool. They're
kind of
able to
story it's
keep
gonna
so
be.
much under wraps.
Yeah.
I think it's better when we don't get so
Yeah.
much information.
Oh, fuck
it's
yeah.
fun to dive into the information, but I like to be surprised sometimes seeing these
Yeah,
movies too.
exactly. Definitely. No, I 100% agree with that. I'd rather be surprised at this point because everything gets ruined
Yeah.
more often than not.
I gotta remind
with
myself
movies
sometimes
nowadays. So
that I should not be watching trailers for movies I want to see. Trailers ruin it sometimes.
So that's exciting. I especially if he can bring back the giallo film
Yeah,
in a big way, because I love those movies, and I think he would be the right person to be able to pull it off and pull it off well.
Yeah, definitely.
But so that's kind of what's happening with movies that are going into production right now. It's a lot of stuff to get really excited about, especially between 2020 and 2021. There's gonna be a lot of good movies coming out horror wise. That's for sure. Now, something that's kind of more what's been talked about. It's not really kind of on the cards or planned yet, but would actually kind of be kind of cool. Is Rob Zombie has talked about how he wants to turn House of a Thousand Corpses into a musical.
I want to see it. It's gonna be so freaking amazing.
That sounds wild, man.
It's the best idea
That sounds
I've ever heard.
wild.
Honestly, if there's one movie that who's your daddy
Who brings the candy?
They need to get the guys at Gore to help out with the whole production, man. I think they're
Yep.
putting on a crazy show.
oh yeah,
Are
So
they
I mean,
going to keep Grandpa's crazy stand-up routine?
Yes.
Oh, I
in
hope
musical
so.
form?
I hope so.
Eat your mother's
Oh my
We
god.
want it all.
Don't
son.
wake
Want
Grandma.
it all, bro.
But I mean, the
man.
movie itself is already wild, so it would be interesting to see what they would do with the musical version of it. And honestly, I mean, they turned Evil Dead into a musical, which that musical is
I was
fantastic.
gonna say they might outdo Evil Dead.
I mean, if you haven't seen
I
Evil,
never got a chance to see that,
Reanimator.
man, but I always
Yeah.
read great stuff about
Yeah.
it. So.
Reanimator, but yeah, Evil Dead the musical, was fantastic. If you haven't seen it, you can find it easily. I mean, I had to watch it off of bootleg because they fucking won't record it and, you know, sell it. So it's like the only way to see it. So, but the music in that is great. And just because, you know, Rob Zombie, obviously with the musical background, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, this might be something good, even though I hated that Super El Beasto thing.
Yeah.
But,
I like
Rob's
it.
never
Oh, that
loved
movie
it,
was
so
terrible.
I always give him a chance, though. I thought it was terrible,
Yeah.
too.
But yeah, needless.
I tried watching that movie.
Yeah. But needless to say, I think it would translate over well into a musical, especially with Rob Zombie, if he ends up doing that. So I think it would be a good idea. And
Me too, and I'm not a musical fan. I just think it's wild enough to have fun.
yeah,
So
definitely. So a little bit of TV news coming out the gate here is Dark Shadows is getting a kind of a sequel series called Dark Shadows Reincarnation. Now, I like the original Dark Shadows. The thing that's got me worried about this is that it's being produced by the CW.
as soon as I saw CW, I stopped reading the article.
When I saw CW, I fucking instantly like, ooh, that's gonna suck.
I'm not excited
Barf.
at all, man. I mean, I don't know.
Barf.
Dark Shadows was
That's all I gotta
amazing.
say. Yeah.
I love the old Dark Shadows. It's something, but I don't know. It's just something so unique. I honestly don't even think it's something that can be updated or redone.
Yeah.
It just is what it is, man.
Yeah.
For the time period and all that.
It's oh, God, it just.
I mean, I haven't even bothered with Tim Burton's because the trailers alone made me go think wasn't going to enjoy
Right.
it. So.
Yeah, when I saw CW attached to this, and it just brought back all the nightmares that I was thinking when they were talking about making a Friday the 13th series from CW. I'm like, no,
Same here.
no,
Can't
God,
post a
no,
link or whatever. I was like, please don't do this to us. Yeah.
no.
I mean, at least it's not MTV, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, because they fucking destroyed
I'm
Scream.
still not interested.
They fucking destroyed Scream.
Yeah. I loved Teen Wolf, man, but Scream was terrible. I didn't enjoy that at all. And I haven't
You guys
gone
should
to
check out
anything of theirs
Slasher
since.
Yeah.
on Netflix.
I felt like Teen Wolf was just... Teen Wolf got lucky.
Slasher is great.
They got...
Slasher's what
I
Scream
tried
should've
watching
been.
the third season. It was horrible.
Yeah, the third season leaves a lot to be desired, but the first two for Slasher are great.
The second one was brutal.
Yes, it was. That's how they should have did Scream.
If you like horror in the winter in the snow,
Oh, yeah.
watch Slasher season 2.
Yep. That's great.
Awesome. I'm going to check it out.
But yeah, so CW, fuck that. I'm out on that cuz yeah. I mean, if you like stuff on CW, you'll probably get a kick out of this when they do bring it up. It's
Yeah.
basically just a
And
modern.
there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not our...
No, it's definitely not. But it's a modern day continuation sequel series is basically what it is. So it's not like a whole reboot. It is a continuation of the original story basically. So just set in modern time. But yeah, that's all I really got on that because that sucks that it's being done by CW. But hey, if you like CW, that's good on you. To each their own. Now on to some somewhat exciting news. Because we're getting a new adaptation of The Stand, which I think is needed. I mean, I did like the original miniseries for The Stand, even with all its flaws.
That's something I've actually never really dug
But-
into or know much about. So
Yeah,
I'd be willing to check out an update.
I love The
It's
Stand.
probably a good idea.
The novel is The Stand. The novel is my favorite Stephen King novel. I love that book.
it is a good fucking book.
Yeah, and a lot of Stephen King, readers say that. I've read a few of his books, but I haven't read that one.
Yeah, that one's
So
that
it's
one's
good.
really good. That one's really really good.
Yeah.
But the news
Because
coming
it's not
out
his
with
typical novel. It's
Right.
not a horror novel at all. It's this big, epic,
Yeah.
good versus evil story. It's not,
Yeah, end of the world.
The
type.
Shining,
apocalypse
Carrie,
thing.
Christine, etc. It definitely things
Right.
like that. So
Yeah, definitely. But the big news coming out with regards to The Stand, because it's been kind of announced for a while, but Alexander Skarsgård, who is the brother of Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise in It Chapter 1 and 2, is nabbed the role of Randall Flagg, who is the main antagonist in The Stand. So that's kind of interesting
Nice.
that he nabbed that role, whereas obviously
These Skarsgård guys are getting all the Stephen King roles, man.
exactly. So he's kind of following in his brother's footsteps, and with this, it's going to be on CBS All Access, so it's on their streaming platform when it does get released. So if you got that, then great. Otherwise, you'll have to get it to be able to see it. So that's kind of what the news.
They'd have a lot of good things, man. Like
Oh,
it's $6 a month. I recommend it if you want to check out
You got Twilight Zone,
Twilight Zone.
definitely. Yeah.
There's another one on there I can't remember.
Well, they got the Star
They got
Trek
some good
series.
Star Trek stuff too, man.
Yeah, so if you're into that too, it's good to
Picard's
check out.
coming out, I think, on there.
But yeah, so that's exciting. I think it's been needed for a while to do a kind of a revamped version of The Stand, and especially with the technology we have today and whatnot, and with how a lot of times TV, either shows or miniseries, are almost as good or better than a lot of movies nowadays. I think it's definitely a good time for this to be done, especially with all the Stephen King properties that they're doing with all this.
And being on All Access, I think that gives them a little bit more freedom.
Oh, yeah.
As far as what they can show. So
Definitely.
Yeah, Stephen King's getting a resurgence. I mean, you got Dr. Sleep coming out later this year.
Yep.
yeah.
We just had It Chapter 2.
Mm-hmm. You've got his Mr. Mercedes series that's on the Audience Network through DirecTV, because that's actually one of the better
Yeah.
Stephen King based television shows that's ever been produced. If you haven't checked that out,
Yeah, I've
it's
heard about it. I haven't seen
Oh,
it. But
it's
I've definitely heard about it.
fucking fantastic. And they're getting ready to come out with season 3 here, which is focusing on a new killer besides Mr. Mercedes. So that's exciting in itself. That really wasn't a part of what we were talking about, but that's just a good side note that if you haven't checked that out, if you like Stephen King based stuff, that's a good one to check out too. Kind of moving along into some upcoming movies that are coming out that we checked out for some trailers this week. So coming out October 25th of this year is the movie Countdown. Now, after watching this, the thing that stood out to me, it just reminds me completely of Final Destination, just with the fucking phone app.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that in another movie that I don't recall the name of, but where they were playing like a cell phone game where you kept trying to outdo
Yeah.
to earn more money.
Yep.
But it kind of had a 90s feel to the trailer, I thought.
Yeah. A little bit.
Looked all right. Yeah. Despite the
I thought it
cell
looked-
phone
I
technology.
thought it
but
looked
it just-
stupid.
It does. I'm with Mark on
It doesn't
this.
look that great.
I
yeah.
didn't. I wasn't interested at all.
Yeah.
It's like what was that one movie, Fear.com?
Yes.
That looked stupid as crap when that came out in the early 2000s, and I
Yeah.
avoided it like the plague, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Any horror movie, oh, I can't say any, but I say most horror movies that are based around computers or cell phones just turn out to be just so lame, because it's not even like they showcase the technology
Typically, I don't
and
know
what
why
the
they
technology
don't
can't
seem
even
to be able
do.
to
It's
do
just
that.
it's like phones don't do that, computers don't do that. You're just
Yeah,
like,
a
come
ghost
on.
is going to possess your cell phone.
Which will bring us to our Blu-ray news soon.
Right. Yeah.
Because I've got some news regarding some Blu-rays.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah.
But I see this doing decent in the box office for whatever reason. It just
Right.
looks like one of them typical movies that people watch.
Yeah, it's definitely not one that I'm thinking I'm going to check out, because like I said, it reminds me a whole lot of Final Destination with a phone app, and it just doesn't look that great. And it just, because like I'm okay with Final Destination, the first one, even aspects of some of the sequels are okay, but it was never really my cup of tea. But this just,
Yeah, I like the first one and the
They
very
were
last one
they were
did.
dumb fun movies.
yeah, and that's really what it all boils down to. But this doesn't look like it's a whole lot of fun,
No.
in comparison to that.
Hey, it could prove you wrong, but I probably won't watch it until I can watch it for free.
Right.
If it's on Netflix or something.
Yeah. It seems like a Netflix movie where if I just have nothing fucking else to do, I'll watch it. But I'm definitely not going to pay money to see it, that's
Yeah.
for sure. But, one that actually does look semi-decent, coming out November 15th, is Little Monsters. Now this,
Yes.
it looks refreshingly funny for a zombie movie, because obviously we've talked about how zombies are being overdone and overused. But this actually looks fucking funny. And
the trailer
Yeah.
made me laugh pretty hard, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not into most of the zombie stuff, but the trailer did have me laughing pretty hard. So
Josh-
I thought it's Hulu. I'll give it a chance.
Yeah,
again.
Josh Gad looks fucking
She
hilarious.
got caught in
this
the
movie.
jam fight.
Yeah.
Don't taste it.
That's who was making me laugh. He was just
Don't
being
taste it.
straight up with the kids.
Yeah, he was fucking funny. He was like, I don't fucking care. He's like, she's like, I got children out here.
I don't fucking care.
Oh my god.
You guys are gonna die soon.
Oh good lord. Yeah, that it looks funny though. This one actually got me excited because I haven't been excited for zombie movies or shows for a long time, but this one looks like it's gonna be a breath of fresh air for me. I mean, between that and Zombieland, I don't know. It's just kind of gotten to the point where I tend to like the comedy zombie stuff more than the serious stuff. But
I want Shaun of the Dead too.
wouldn't that be great? I love Shaun of the Dead. That's one of my favorite
That is a
zombie
great
movies.
These guys
Have
done
Zombie
anything in a
Land,
while? Like they
Yeah.
were kind of hot there for a minute. I don't know if they've done anything in a while.
Yeah. So that's November 15th. Which I don't understand why they're doing it after Halloween. It'd be like the perfect one to bring out during Halloween. And it may be just because things are kind of overcrowded with the Halloween season, which could be understandable, but at the same time, you're doing it right after Halloween and right before the Christmas holidays. It doesn't really
good
fit in
Thanksgiving
there,
movie.
especially just kind of the theme, and it's taking place during the summer, it looks like, too, so I don't know. It's just that if it were me, I would have done it sooner than November,
Yeah, for sure.
personally. But now, September 14th, there's it's a film, I believe, by Snapchat, if I'm not mistaken. Does
Yeah,
that sound
I think
about right,
Snap
Sean?
Films or something like that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's a Snapchat movie.
It looked
Did-
alright, man. Like, it's a found footage kind of, but in its own unique way. I thought
Yes.
it looked like a fun, cheapy kind of film. So
Yeah. So the film's
definitely
called
not going to be a great release.
yeah, so the film's called Dead of Night. It's only going to be available on Snapchat. Now with this,
I'm not interested.
no, I'm really not either.
That's what turned me off, is that it's only available on Snapchat. Because that makes it very limited to even for a lot of people to even watch.
Yeah,
it.
with this, it's just like, I don't know. A lot of it
It
has
just looked like a stupid, silly sci-fi channel movie to me.
well, not only that, but the whole filming
Definitely not
vertically
good, though.
gets on my fucking nerves.
Yeah, I thought that was an odd
Yes.
choice.
That, but I mean, it is.
Maybe it looks different on
It
the
is
phone.
only
It's
through
supposed to look
Snapchat.
like a
It's a
Snapchat post.
Yeah.
So I understand that that's why it's like that, is because it's available only through Snapchat, but at the same time, video's supposed to be horizontal. It's not supposed to be vertical. I don't fucking care what you say. I don't care how things are going. Film, movies, shit like that's supposed to be horizontal. The long way. It's not supposed to be standing up tall. So this shit can fuck off.
Yeah,
I'm
never
passing
go to
on
a
this.
movie theater. You can never go to a movie theater and see the
Oh fuck
screen
no.
standing up.
Fuck no. Screw that. I mean, it is an interesting concept. I mean, especially releasing something like this through Snapchat. It's not going to be for me. It's not going to be one I'm going to check out, even though it's kind of the end of the world kind of thing, because I'm into that kind of shit. But I can't deal with watching video like that. That's just too much for me, and that's just how I am. I mean, I understand that might be petty, but I don't fucking care. I just can't watch video like that. It's just not for me.
Unfriended 3 Snapchat.
I don't think we need another unfriended. That's for sure. Oh my god.
I've seen that.
Unfriended 4 Reddit post. Are you listening to this,
Lord.
Universal? You owe me money if you actually make these types of movies. I've got the proof right here.
Right?
I honestly think that's how they got the idea for the first 2 Unfriended movies. They just somebody talking. They're like, "Hey, let's make that into a movie." Yeah, it'll be cheap. Yeah, okay. Where's the script? We don't need a script. We're Hollywood producers.
I really do think they do that. They have guys that they just have sit there and churn out ridiculous one-liner ideas.
Yeah.
And then they start picking from it and throw it at the writers.
Oh, I don't doubt it. don't doubt it one bit. But Dead of Night, September 14th, available only on Snapchat, so that's already passed, so it's been released. So it gives you something to watch if you like watching shit through Snapchat. So go nuts on it. Now, and for a little bit of TV news, so this has got me excited. We talked about already, Castle Rock Season 2 is coming out, and it's focusing majority of it on Annie Wilkes. So they released the trailer for it, and the trailer made me even more fucking excited for this.
Yeah, it looked great. It seems like we're going to see
Yes,
her in
it's
her
gonna be
nursing
great.
days. So I'm getting what I want for sure.
Yeah,
It looks like
I think it looks amazing. I'm very, very pumped after that. And she looks the part. She looks like a young Annie
Yeah.
Wilkes. So
All these patients are dirty birdies.
oh my god.
Mr. Man.
had her daughter there in the teaser and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made me excited, man.
Mr.
I can't wait.
You cock-a-doodie.
Oh, it's gonna be good. Like we talked about, Castle Rock is one of those. It's another good Stephen King based
More
show.
Stephen King.
Talk about Stephen King a lot around here. It's good though. It's good because it's well overdue, especially for him getting his due with movies and TV shows and all that based off his work. So, on top of that, so that's coming out October 23rd for Castle Rock Season 2. Now, before that, on October 11th, we are getting the limited series for Are You Afraid of the Dark on Nickelodeon. So this is kind of the reboot of it. It's kind of looks like it's going the route that Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark did with their movie, where it's kind of mixing, the Midnight Society telling their story, but it also is like
I thought that was
playing
a
out on
different
them.
twist. Yeah, that is
So,
actually playing out on them as well, not just their story.
Yeah.
But I didn't care for that, but it still looked good. Like,
I thought it
Looks
looked
like-
good.
yeah,
I'm gonna watch
pretty
it.
dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out, man. It looks like a good dark kid show.
Yeah.
It had my daughter scared, so
There you go. Yeah, it could go either way for me. Whether or not I like it. I'm still gonna check it out just for the nostalgia factor, because obviously, like I discussed back in one of our earlier episodes, that Are You Afraid of the Dark was one of my top TV shows as a
Yes.
kid. So, this is gonna be something I definitely want to check out. It'll be interesting to see how this goes with that whole aspect of them telling the story, but the story coming to life basically and affecting.
and maybe it'll be good, something refreshing.
Yeah.
since it's new. Who knows? So
Now going along,
I'm still excited.
right now going along with that, I didn't realize that in this is the kid that played Ben Hanscom in the It Chapter 1 and 2, Jeremy Ray Taylor. So he's actually in this series, and definitely he's gotten older because his voice is a lot fucking deeper than it was in the fucking movies. So that,
Yeah, it's hard to keep that.
because I'm like,
when you got kids doing the movies and they grow up so damn fast, it's hard
right.
to keep them in those kind of roles.
Exactly, because watching that trailer, I'm like, I know that kid from somewhere, but I can't put my fucking finger on it. And then I was researching for this, after watching the trailer again, I'm like, oh shit, that's who it is. And yeah, his voice.
It's like Stranger Things. I mean, I almost feel like they have to wrap it up because the kids are just going to outgrow the roles.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Stranger Things, I think they're either going 1 or 2 more seasons, I think is what they were saying. So.
Yeah, that's what I heard, that there was one more. Yeah.
But, so, yeah. Can't wait for that to come back. I'm sure they're going to wait another 1.5 years for that, too, so.
Yeah, that always takes forever. So.
At least.
Yeah. They're going to be almost adults by the time or they will be adults.
That's why I said, man, they're going to be too grown up for the role.
Right. So that's kind of.
I love the show, though. I love the show.
Yeah. So that's those two are exciting. Now, Purge Season 2 is also coming out around the same time on October 15th. Now, what's got me interested about this season, the second season, is the fact that they're going to be focusing a lot of what happens outside of the Purge
I thought
night.
that was a great idea, man.
Yeah, kind
To
of.
see another aspect of it. I really enjoyed the first season, and I didn't think I was going to.
Mhm.
I thought it was pretty well done, man.
Yeah. So that's October 5th.
I think it's actually a kind of a story that works better on television than it does in the movie, possibly.
Right.
Because you can follow a couple different people's stories. And I'm interested to see how everybody's acting after the fact. We've never really got to see that.
Right.
Why is it so cleansing?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I like
you
that.
can believe that.
Yeah, and I do like that they're going with the whole anthology kind of thing with this. You know, like they're doing a lot these days when you think of like American Horror Story and different things like that. So I think that especially with The Purge, it works to its benefit to do it as an anthology series, basically. And from what I was reading regarding this season is, you know, the bulk of the season is going to take place during that 364 days outside of the Purge, and then it's going to end on Purge night, basically, is what I was reading.
Awesome.
When I was looking into this earlier. So that's going to be interesting. That's got me a little bit excited for that. So another movie that's actually coming out here, and this is actually coming out October 1st. This one seems interesting. It's coming out on video on demand. It's called Devil's Revenge. So the story with this
Go ahead, sorry.
is it's from a writer that worked heavily on Star Trek The Next Generation. It is featuring both William Shatner, who obviously was in the original Star Trek series, and Jerry Ryan, who was obviously in Voyager. So it looks like it's cheesy, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It kind of reminds me of a sci-fi movie, basically. You know,
Yeah, it did for me too.
Yeah.
I honestly got the feeling you could tell the guy from Star Trek. Like it had almost like a, UPN or one of the other networks that was shot. I can't remember who it was still in Star Trek then, but it feels like that kind of Saturday evening 6 o'clock movie.
Yeah.
On the UHF channel.
Definitely. Yeah, and who doesn't want to see William Shatner with a fucking grenade launcher?
I want to see William Shatner wrestle a guy in a rubber suit again,
Right.
like Star Trek.
That would be great.
Well, it looks like you might get a chance for that, man.
Oh, that would be great if that happened. But yeah, when he pulled out that rock or the grenade launcher, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm totally behind this. William Shatner's great. So that's going to
He
be
always cracks me up,
interesting
man.
to see for
I
sure.
think it's funny how he's more of the comedy guy these days than he is the serious
Right.
sci-fi kind of guy.
Yeah, that's for
But
sure.
it works.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. Especially you got to kind of reinvent yourself as you go, especially when you've been in the
Yeah.
business for as long as he has. Because I mean, he's been in this business for
Yeah, he's been
almost
around a
60
long
fucking
time, man.
years. So, but
Yeah, I've seen him from Twilight Zone up until now.
yep, definitely. So that's kind of some good upcoming stuff that's for movies and TV shows. All good stuff for the most part, minus the couple things that we discussed here that just aren't very interesting or whatnot. But still, it's Halloween season. There's still a lot of good stuff coming out. A lot more, I'm sure, that we're going to be talking about here in the next few weeks. So kind of moving on into some Blu-ray news before Ted gets into his juicy bits of news that he has. The one that got me the most excited is Suspiria is getting a 4K Blu-ray release via Synapse Films. That's coming November 19th. And there's going to be a shit ton of extras with that one.
Yeah, that's awesome, and that's a beautiful movie anyway. So
Yeah.
Yes,
it
it
deserves
is.
the treatment for sure.
Ted, what are your thoughts on that,
I'd
on that
get
one?
it if I had a 4K player.
Well, I had some thoughts,
Right.
But why don't you just do my job for me, Isaiah? Talk about all the Blu-ray news. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, that's gonna be great. I'm not the biggest. I'm not the biggest Dario Argento fan. I like some of his stuff, but I'm more of a Lucio Fulci fan. But Suspiria, as Sean said, it is a very beautiful film. It's a good film. It's like that. Phenomena with Jennifer Connelly, or however you pronounce her name, and Donald Pleasance. That's a good film.
Yeah.
So this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be good. That's one I've been waiting for a while for them to do a good 4K Blu-ray on, and that's going to be a must pick up for me, especially before the holiday season. So Ted, what else do you got for Blu-ray news this week? Because I know that you have quite a bit of stuff,
yes,
some
I
good
do.
juicy bits coming up here.
I'm
All
excited.
right, I'm going to make this sweet because I'm afraid the mic will fail or whatever. The connection will fail any minute, so I won't do my long intro. Oh, you know what? What the heck? I'm gonna do my own intros. Gather around the campfire, kiddies. And get scared. Boo! Okay, there we go. Now, Vinegar Syndrome has some great releases coming out in October. We have Beyond the Door 3. We have Berserker. Berserker is a movie about kids camping, or yeah, I say kids, like young people, sexed up teenagers. There we go. That's a better way to say it. Going in the woods and getting
There you go.
getting killed off by a
It's a good
bear,
one. I've seen
or
it.
is it a Viking dressed as a bear? Because that's what berserkers were. Ooh. But yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Berserker.
There's a great parody movie that was made in the. There's a great parody
It's a
movie
fun
that's coming
cheapie.
out that was made in the 80s. It's called Unmasked Part 25, also known as Hands of Death. It's basically the plot is you have this Jay killer who wears a hockey mask. He starts to date this blind woman, and he's hideously disfigured. And so when he falls in love with this blind woman because she can't see how horribly disfigured he is, he's not killing people anymore. So that's coming out. And the big, yes, I want it big time, man. It's great.
That sounds great, man. That reminds me
And
of
the
Toxic.
big one that they announced just yesterday is the Amityville: The Cursed Collection. This is a box set that contains 4 Amityville movies, and the movies are The Evil Escapes, which is part 4. That's the one where you have a possessed lamp trying to kill people. That's I still say that's better than a possessed cell phone, but ridiculous and over the top. But but then you have Amityville 1992. It's About Time, which is basically about a possessed clock. You have Amityville: A New Generation, which is it has Lynn Shay in it, being crazy because that's what she does best. So, there you go. And then you have Amityville Dollhouse, about a possessed dollhouse. Now this box set is going to be an actual slipcase, and each movie is going to have its individual case with its own artwork. It's limited to 4,000 units. And you can only buy it from Vinegar Syndrome's website. It's $60, right? Yeah, it's $60, free shipping. They have an October bundle,
wow.
which
That's
has
awesome.
everything in it. The Unmasked Part 25, Berserker, Beyond the Door 3. I didn't have $120, so I just bought the Amityville box set from them yesterday when I got home from work, because I was like, I'm not passing this up. Because I've got, because Factory released the first 3 movies. And this basically, it completes the entire original Amityville franchise on Blu-ray, except for Part 5, which has some weird rights issues, like Fright Night Part 2. That one's called
Yeah,
The
that's what I was
Amityville
gonna
Curse.
say.
But that one doesn't even take place in the Amityville house. It's like another haunted house in the actual town. It is what it is, I guess. And these movies don't really follow each other anyway, continuity wise. They're just different movies. So, Kino Lorber, they are releasing on October. All those are October 29th, coming out. But if you order it from Vinegar Syndrome's website, they ship 2 weeks early, which got me confused with the Amityville box set, because they said you can only buy it from them, but then they say it's shipping 2 weeks earlier. Then I'm like, what? What, shouldn't the date just be October 15th then? Or I'm confused about that. But anyway, Kino Lorber,
Right.
yeah, on October 1st, they are releasing Nightmare Beach, also
It's a
known
sales
as
gimmick.
Spring Break. Stars John Saxon. It's a slasher film. And on October 22nd, they are releasing Charles Band's Parasite 3D on Blu-ray, one of Demi Moore's first movies. And I have Parasite on DVD, and yeah, Demi Moore's in it. That's the highlight, I guess. It's not a great movie, but Parasite is not a good movie. It has a little bit of decent special effects. It was when Charles Band was getting into the 3D fad at the time. I mean, he did that in Metal Storm, The Destruction of Jared Sin. So, I mean, it's going to include the 3D version also on it, as well as the 2D version, so that could be worth it, That's coming out October 22nd. Paramount Pictures is releasing
that's wild.
Addams Family Values finally on Blu-ray, and you can buy that separately, or they are also on the same day releasing a double feature pack with both Addams Family movies on there, so that's awesome, because I love those movies. And, Lionsgate, of course, is releasing 3 from Hell, October 15th. Trauma is finally releasing after 5 years and 7 freaking months. Return to Nukem High, aka Volume 2. Woo! I have been waiting.
Finally.
Finally.
Taking that week off.
You can pre-order it now on Amazon. It's $20. I did, because I'm feeling love Trauma. So, yeah, it finally. I thought this movie would never get released. Sean and I talked about it.
It's moving slow in his older age.
Sean and I talked about this many a times over the past 2 years, maybe even 3 years. We're just like, this movie's not coming out, is it? So finally, it's coming out. I'm excited. It's a 2-disc set. So, heck yeah. And finally, Shout Factory has dropped a lot of bombshells that are coming out this year. First, we have the Blob remake from the 80s. That's coming out October 29th.
Nice.
In December, it's not a horror film, but it's a John Carpenter film. Big Trouble in Little China they are releasing in a big collector's edition. Yep.
I cannot wait for that.
Even better movie. Okay.
Yep. Love Kurt Russell. He's a great actor. He's awesome. Him and John Carpenter together, it's always good. Even Escape from L.A., I enjoy that movie. I don't care what anybody says. That's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Me too.
Silver Bullet finally has a release date of December 10th.
Escape from Cleveland.
So we are finally getting that. Oh, yeah. And...
yeah, that's one of my favorite movies. I'm excited about that. It deserves the blue.
And the big one in December is Shout Factory announced that they are releasing the Fly Collection, containing all 5 movies, which is the original movie and its sequel, Return of the Fly with Vincent Price, Curse of the Fly, which was made in the 60s, and then David Cronenberg's remake from the 80s, and The Fly 2 from the 80s, which will be
awesome.
The first time that, yes, I cannot wait for this collection. It is the first time that
yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's the first time that Curse of the Fly and The Fly 2 are getting the Blu-ray releases here in North America. So, that is fantastic news. I got super excited this week when all this stuff was coming out. And so, yeah, I am going to be freaking poor, but it's going to be worth it because I am getting this stuff.
I think the original Fly is one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
Definitely.
And then The Fly 2 has the dog scene, which, gosh, if that doesn't tug at your heartstring, you're a heartless piece of crap.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, you're not. But that scene is hard. Poor little dog.
That's like the most notorious.
That's the scene that everybody talks
series.
about. It's a good movie. Some people seem to crap on it, but it's a good sequel. I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a decent movie.
That is all I have for Blu-ray news. A lot of good stuff coming out in the next couple of months. And, of course, we'll keep posted when more things get announced.
That's a lot of good stuff coming out, and that's a lot of good news, especially this week, because I know last week was a little sparse for Blu-ray news, but this definitely made up for it. If you remember the fan series for Friday the 13th, Never Hike Alone, or the fan film that they did, they are actually turning that into a web series. So, starting in early winter 2020, they're working on how many episodes? It was 4 additional entries
I believe they said
for this web series, which is really exciting because they are bringing back Tom Matthews. So Tom Matthews is going to be back as Tommy Jarvis, my Tommy Jarvis, because like I've been saying for a while, Jason Lives is my Friday the 13th movie. So they've even got the names for this. So you've got Never Hike Alone 2, Never Hike Again, Never Hike Alone 3, Jason Takes Crystal Lake, and Never Hike Alone 4, The
I
Final
like
Hike.
it. I do too.
So, and
oh, that's cool. I like those titles.
Never
better than
Hike
the
Alone.
other
Yeah, definitely.
ones.
So what it seems like, because each entry with this web series is continuing right where the previous one left off. So it's almost like they're doing these web episodes that are, and they said that they're going to be in range of 20 to 30 minutes a piece. So it's almost like they're making a full Friday the 13th movie over the span of these 4 episodes, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
I like it.
I enjoyed Never Hike Alone, so I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, definitely. So for casting, like we said, Tom Matthews back as Tommy Jarvis. Another face from Jason Lives. So Deputy Rick is back, and he's now the sheriff. So that's cool that he's back. That's cool that they got him to come back for this. And then also Douglas Tate, who was in Freddy vs. Jason, he's actually going to be a part of this too. But the one major selling point for them doing this is that they are actually doing a Indiegogo right now campaign to raise money for the first episode. And actually, the first one that they're talking about that they're doing is actually going to be called Never Hike in the Snow. So it's going to be a Friday the 13th story set in the snow like everybody's been wanting. And
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
It's exciting.
Good idea. Beats Tom McLaughlin to the punch, but it's okay.
So a lot of good things are coming out here, and like we said, we're going to actually be doing an episode here coming up on fan films and short films in general. So we'll talk more about this stuff, at that point as well. But it's exciting, especially with the whole legal shit that's going on with Friday the 13th, that people are actually saying enough is enough and fucking making their own shit to entertain people. And not obviously making nothing off of this. They're doing it just because they want stories to be fucking told, like we all do. And some people are just doing it. And, obviously some are raising funds to just help with the cost of having to film it and pay for people and whatnot, but they're not making a fucking dime off of any of these. So now the main thing that we're discussing this week is, we're focusing on movies or horror movies and the music that's used in those movies. Now, a lot of times, music can help elevate a movie, and there's definitely times when it can fucking hinder a movie. Now, as we're getting ready for, 3 from Hell coming up this week, one thing that I've found myself doing, and I was actually talking to Mark about this earlier, is this whole last week I've been listening to the soundtrack for Devil's Rejects. So all that 70s rock and roll music that they used in that movie, that is a very good example of using music in the proper way to help kind of either set the mood or elevate a movie. I mean, I absolutely loved all the music choices in that movie. From the Allman Brothers that they used in the beginning with the Midnight Rider, even to Freebird at the end, with the big culmination of everything. I mean, every piece of music that they used in that film had a purpose, and you could tell it had a purpose, and it helped make that movie what it was.
Exactly. It wasn't just thrown in for a quick beat to make people like, oh, cool.
So I mean, that definitely did its job with that movie, because I mean, it made it so much better. It helped tell the story, as it went along. And even House of a Thousand Corpses did the same thing, with the music that he used in that one. And it definitely had a different feel. And that's what I like, is that they didn't take the same feel of House of a Thousand Corpses, especially with the music choice. And they didn't do the same thing with Devil's Rejects. It was a totally different type of music for each movie. And it made it just its own thing, but it also helped elevate it as it's been going along. And I hope they do that with Devil's Rejects, or not Devil's Rejects, but 3 from Hell as well.
Yeah, definitely. Rob's doing a good job with that. He's a music man, so he knows what he's doing.
Obviously, yeah, definitely. So what are some examples that you guys have noticed with movies, whether good or bad?
Well, I think one of my favorite soundtracks is for Demons. And
Oh,
it's
yes.
not necessarily.
Oh yeah, that's great.
I don't know what it is. Demon's just a crazy rock and roll video anyway, so like the whole soundtrack just.
It's a crazy
don't
movie,
even
so
need
it
to watch
fits.
the
That's the
movie.
whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole
It just
movie
fits.
is so
Yeah.
wild.
It's like a
The
big
soundtrack
80s heavy metal party.
Yeah, it complements it. I'll tell you one thing that's bad: freaking Creed and H2O. What
I'd say-
was that about?
That's a good point because yeah,
Gosh.
Creed in general is
What
kind of
if
a fucking horror movie.
What if?
I'd say an example of going above and beyond and getting an A+ in your soundtrack would be The Exorcist. Freaking love that soundtrack.
Yeah,
The opening theme to that movie.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. I didn't even think of that. That is a good one.
yeah.
I got a list.
Oh, what about
I will
the?
tell you, that's what kind of hurt
Jaws.
Scream.
Everybody
and-
knows the Jaws
Yeah.
theme.
Yep.
It's
So I think kind
iconic.
of hurt Scream, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, and some of those in the '90s, is they tried so much to just throw these pop groups and other groups of that,
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
and it
Oh,
really took
yeah.
away from the films.
Definitely.
Brother Kane from Halloween: The Curse
another-
of Michael Myers.
I'd say the best in the industry as far as horror goes is the original Halloween movie.
Yeah, if we're talking straight,
That's
the original
hands down my
soundtracks. Yeah,
favorite.
definitely. Well,
Yes,
actually,
absolutely masterful.
I don't know because I'm kind of torn because if we're talking original soundtracks, I absolutely love Halloween. That's for sure. John Carpenter, actually all of John Carpenter's music that he's done with everything, both horror and non-horror, I've absolutely loved his music. But in the same breath, the first movie that got me into horror, Nightmare on Elm Street, that soundtrack for me is the most epic soundtrack, especially for an 80s horror movie. That thing scared the shit out of me as a kid. That one,
That's on my
that
list.
one.
That's a good soundtrack. I think Nightmare 4 has a great soundtrack as far as music selection, man. It flows with the movie pretty well.
Oh, well,
I love the first one so much because it's the first time I heard that
Yep.
Freddy jingle. It was
Nightmare 1 soundtrack is
Loved
great. It has that tone. It gives you the feel of the movie.
Yeah,
I
it
just
ki-
enjoy 4s because of the songs that are in it.
yes, that was what I was gonna say. Even it was kind of sticking with, the music used in movies. Nightmare's very, very good with that because you have obviously Nightmare 4. That opening song by Tuesday Night was great. Even Dokken in the opening of or Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors,
that's
yeah.
great.
It's one of the most iconic
Freddy's.
horror songs.
Yeah, that was Dawkins. You were
Yeah,
right.
and then Freddy's Dead. That opening song by the Goo Goo Dolls. That one was classic too. I love the shit out of that song. I bought the soundtrack literally for that song when it came out, just because of that. So, or not when it came out because I was too young when it came out, but once I was able to find a CD with it, I got it because of that song. So,
I tell you what, this isn't. Well, it's kind of hard, but Ghostbusters 2, for whatever
Oh,
reason,
yes.
I really love the hell out of that soundtrack growing up, dude.
Yes.
yes, there's a
so much
lot
fun.
of good ones on there.
I love Ghostbusters 2, period. So,
Oh, Bobby Brown.
yeah.
Bobby! Bobby!
How about Friday the 13th, the Harry Manfredini?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
That was great. The music set the
Definitely.
tone for that whole movie. Without the music, it would have been nothing.
yeah. Now, out of the Manfredini themes and whatnot, definitely the first, actually first through the fifth movie, it's all kind of the same sounding music, so you could almost kind of lump that together.
Yeah.
Now, what he did in part 6 with Jason Liz, obviously this is me just being a fanboy again because part 6 is my favorite. Yeah,
Loved it. It was rock and roll.
It was
Jason.
rock and roll,
Alice
Jason.
Cooper, man.
Yeah, it was fucking metal. It
and
was
it had that
kick-ass.
more gothic sound to it too. Because
Yeah,
The,
Teenage
the
Frankenstein.
score
baby.
was gothic. The soundtrack was metal. Basically, that's what it was, and it worked perfectly.
yep,
Yeah, they complemented each other.
definitely, it's what he did with that. Yeah, because what he did to change it up in part 6 to make it sound different from the first 5 films just made it that much better. But you could still tell his score was still Friday the 13th. It was just that different that it made it set itself apart and almost kind of elevated it in a way. You know, whereas the previous 5 were kind of all kind of the same type of music, which isn't bad because, I mean, the first 5 Friday films, that musical score is fucking phenomenal. Just like Halloween, just like the Nightmare on Elm Street one, it was fucking phenomenal.
One thing on Nightmare on Elm Street, they did a great job all the way through.
Yeah.
One thing that disappointed me was I believe it was the end of Nightmare 5 where they kind of just threw a Houdini song at the end.
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere.
The previous
I've said that
Fat
for years.
Boys.
That
the
song
previous
had no
one had
purpose,
Fat
just
Boys, and it was actually part of Freddy and everything. But
yeah, the Fat Boy song from Part 4 was awesome. Because, you know, Robert Englund was great in that music. I love that music video.
But nothing beats nothing beats Jason Takes Manhattan's opening
Darkest
song.
side of
Darkest side of the night.
I love that song.
The darkest
The first time I saw Jason Takes Manhattan, I never forget. I rented it on VHS along with Part 7. My dad and I watched it as like a double feature one Friday night. So we watched Part 7, then popped in Part 8. And then that song comes on, and we both give each other this confused look. I was like, did they mess up the labels? This doesn't sound like a Friday the 13th movie. And I was just like, what is this? And then finally the title came up, Friday the 13th Part 8. I was like, oh, it is the right movie. I was like, this is different. You know, so used to just the normal.
that was the first Friday for me that didn't feel like a Friday because of that.
Yeah. With, because Darkest Side of the Night, that was great. The score itself, because it wasn't done by Harry Manfredini, I think the score was lacking in Part 8. And even kind of in Part 7 too, because they used bits and pieces of Harry Manfredini's things.
I felt like it sounded like it came from the damn Friday the 13th TV show.
Yeah.
Especially 7, it really has that feel, and it doesn't always. I love Part 7, but I always thought it had an odd.
Yeah, the music just. Other than, you know, the rock song from Part 8, it's the score itself. It kind of brings me back to the remake, you know, Friday the 13th, where it just felt more droney and just not a whole lot going on with the music with Part 7 and Part 8. So, yeah, those scores aren't my favorite by any means, because obviously Harry didn't do it. And it was, what was it, Fred Mullen or something like that? Or I don't remember the dude's name.
It's Fred Mullen. He started with, he did the music for Part 7 and 8. And then they threw in Manfredini's score in there, so that's why Manfredini gets credit too. But he's the one who basically was just the music guy for those 2 movies. And for I believe he did the Friday the 13th series also.
Probably.
Yeah,
More than likely.
I guarantee it, man, because it sounds, every time I watch those, I get an itch to watch that show. So.
Yeah. Now, one of the ones that I didn't care for like musical scores original score done for a movie was Nightmare 2. I didn't like that music. I mean, in a way, it was kind of dreamlike too, but when you come from Nightmare 1, where that music is scary as shit, to this like more like moody but not even creepy music done by Christopher Young, I didn't care for it. I really did not care for that music in that movie.
Yeah, it's very different from
everything about Part 2 is different from
first.
But so was the movie itself, honestly. I mean, I like the movie.
Yeah.
It's something that took a while to grow on me. Not because the movie itself was bad, it was so out of the story. But it holds up to me now. So
I've always liked Nightmare 2. It's just the music itself, I just, even to this day, I still don't like the music. And that's my only real complaint with the movie is the music. Because I just didn't feel like it fit the movie. Maybe I think that's what basically it is it just, I don't feel it fit with the movie. Oh, what else? Oh, Phantasm. Phantasm is a good original soundtrack. It's the first movie.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of try to make it bigger with the future movies, but the first one, I like how kind of more minimalistic it is, and it just sounds a lot creepier, you know. So that one I enjoyed a lot.
I always thought Zombie was really good. That one always
Yes.
I thought it
Yes.
had a creepy feel. And as soon as
Yeah.
you hear it, if you
Zombies
like the
great.
movie, you know exactly what you're about to listen to.
Right.
It's unmistakable.
Oh, even Dawn of the Dead too. That one's so simple, but it's so good at the same time. That one's great. Even Day of the Dead. Both Dawn and Day for soundtrack wise.
Yeah, Day of
I
the
thought
Dead.
those were very well done. And in a lot of ways they're kind of similar with kind of that bump 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 kind of thing that they had going on, but that was those
Yeah.
were definitely good. So
We got a lot more
Just
love.
that
than
music playing, and then
Essential.
she's
yeah.
that music that plays in Day of the Dead when at the beginning when she's just standing in the street and all the zombies are starting to come toward her because they're trying to contact any survivors.
Yep.
That gives me chills every time. That's so freaking creepy.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Holy crap. Oh, that's some good stuff. Anytime the music can get me creeped out, it's high up there on my list.
Yes.
You need that horror
What's
movie.
a good example? Oh, you know what? The one that creeped me out the most, well, not the most, but like more recently was the first Insidious movie. So
Yeah,
you have kind of that
Definitely,
off,
man. That was creepy.
that off kind of sounding music, throughout the whole film, but then adding in Tiny fucking Tim's Tiptoe Through the Tulips in there,
Yeah.
which
It gave the whole movie an even more uncomfortable feeling.
yes,
Along with the,
Oh.
I felt like they used.
How
I'm
about-
getting
stuff
chills just
from
thinking about that.
Demonology.
I'm fucking
yeah.
like
They
getting
used so much in
goosebumps
that
just thinking
movie.
about it.
How about movies that nail the suspense by cutting out the score at the right points, leaving it silent at the
Oh
perfect
shit!
spots?
There's
Yes, that's a
'Cause
great technique.
I thought Hereditary
Yes.
nailed that, and I won't give a spoiler, but there's a part at the end of the movie where he's in the attic and it was completely quiet, and all you hear is this little vibrating, grinding sound,
Mhm.
yeah, that's all.
and then you figure out what it is, and it's creepy
Yeah.
as hell.
As always, you guys, if there's anything you guys heard here that you kind of agree with, or if you guys have your own examples of music that's worked well in a movie or TV show that we didn't cover here that you thought really was done either well or really hindered something, let us know. We have our Facebook, we have Instagram and Twitter, all at CLS Podcast. Love to hear more from you guys. Keep spreading the word with regards to the podcast. We'd love to get it out there and, start growing this community. It would be nice to hear from you guys also what you guys would like to see from us, whether it be more reviews, more stuff like this, or live streams if you want. Yeah. If you want like Patreon, if we get to that point, Patreon exclusive content, we're looking for ideas as we continue to grow here. Please let us know. We do love you guys. We appreciate you guys checking out our podcast. As always, check out our review towards the end of this week for 3 from Hell. And we'll be back next week with our normal, regularly scheduled programming. But until next time, as Ted always says,
Slay you next week, my lovelies.
Thanks for joining us today for the CLS Podcast. Check us out at www.clspodcast.com or join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag CLS Podcast. Until next time, stay safe, campers.